not having attachment. It's that Taoist non-attachment where you're the Buddha in the middle of the burning inferno, and nothing and no one can touch your essence. What happens in the external world may affect me functionally. I may utilize it to activate a part of my inner power or growth, but ultimately it's inconsequential to me because I can discern and deflect anything that doesn't support me.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Jenna Blackert.
And I'm Lidia Kuleshnyk.
And this is the Haute Hustle Mystic Morning Show. Today we're talking with Lidia Kuleshnyk, and we are talking about awakening yourself so you can reclaim your sovereignty and truly become limitless.
That sounds so fun.
And talking about limitless, I've got a cool morning brew with Woo.
Okay.
It's just a little fun, cheeky little play on the 111, 222, and 444 angel numbers.
Love it.
On Sunday, I went out to get a cat tree because that's what you do on Sundays. And I messaged the person that morning. They responded pretty quickly. We arranged to meet around 1:30. So I left the house at 1:11.
Okay.
I got my brand new cat tree that was brand new in a box, but yet I got it on Facebook Marketplace.
Got it.
I arrived there. The dude was like, "Please take it. We don't have enough room for this in our small apartment." And I was thinking that woman probably really wanted this. But that aside, I grabbed my tree. I returned home at 2:22. Exactly. I was pulling in the garage. So I just felt like it must have been destined for the kittens.
Oh.
And then to make the story even juicier, I was like, okay, let's see how fast I can sell the old cat tree. And I sold the cat tree in a couple hours on Facebook Marketplace. And I put out an energy and asked for a woman who really was excited to receive it, was willing to pay me exactly what I asked for. And I was doing it thinking, I like the aesthetic of my cat tree in my house. I was thinking, I want someone to even love it so much that the aesthetic matches.
Aww.
And the funny thing was, when the lady picked it up, one of the things she said was, "I love your new cat tree. Is this the one I'm picking up?" And I love mine that I'm getting because it matches my aesthetics perfectly.
Oh, for her house.
For her house.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, okay, universe, I hear you. I'm manifesting this way and trusting you every step of the way now. So that was just like one of my little things that's like, universe, I've got your back.
Aww.
It's a simple thing, but it was just this wow. So that's what I've got for Morning Brew with.
Woo, thank you. I think those feel-good stories always remind us that the universe really does have our back. I remember when I said that we just got a new vehicle and it's my first, and I had been I saw 222 because I woke up in the middle of the night. I saw 555 was on my computer. And then today, when I got into the new vehicle, it's like I said, my first EV. It's a really cute optic 2026 Cadillac. It's a mindset change. I got in the car, I look over, and you know how I wear that little necklace that says 444?
Yep.
I had 444 miles on the car.
Wow.
Isn't that cute?
I love it. You're like,
thanks, universe. And it's a reminder that the universe just has my back, even when I'm trying to push and force things to happen.
Even though you know that the universe has your back, it still is so delightful that they give you feedback. Yes. It's like getting a little letter and saying, you did well. Congratulations.
Stay on path. You got
Stay on path. This is how we do this world.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love it so much.
I've got a little bit of Mystic Space weather news. So in Mystic Space Weather News, there is a planetary alignment on 2/28/26, and I just wanted to tell you all about that. But my question is for everyone, could this unique time where Saturn is in the conjunction with Neptune at the 0 point in Aries be a unique time in history, unlike any other time that we've experienced before, maybe 6,000 years ago? in a way that has been predicted by the past,
Mm.
or is it a part of our disclosure? So I'm proposing this question because lots of astrologers and different channelers say yes. So let me give you the receipts. Okay. So I was doing some research and I was looking through, and there is some studies, like I found it on good old YouTube, the studies on YouTube. You can look it up yourself. But it says that Edgar Casey, Dolores Cannon, so these are people who Edgar Casey did channeling, Dolores Cannon did QHHT, so she put people in sessions, and Daryl Anka, who channels Bashar, all say that 2026 is the year of disclosure. We just had that 0 point Aries, and then right after President Trump, which make it super interesting, President Trump has declared that he will make all of the information about UAPs and maybe the extraterrestrials, our interactions, much more transparent and disclose some of the unclassified documents.
I love that.
So I don't know if that's something that we can truly take to the bank. But I am curious as to what you people think out there. Is this really going to be the time where we get some, let's find out for sure?
It is.
You think so?
I do.
You do?
Because I got an Arcturian message that was going to happen in early 2027, which makes me really trust that.
Yeah. And in my channeling sessions with Nostradamus, we got the information that said that the time was really close. Like even from the different extraterrestrial, the Guardians of Light, the Galactic
Guardians of the Galaxy,
the Galactic Federation of Light also said that they would be visiting and they would be showing themselves as orbs. And remember how I said I thought it was just going to be like these little, oh, you're going to feel a feeling and you might see some light flicker. No, people are seeing stuff in the sky, on plasmoid orbs.
Love that. Wow.
But I'm curious as to, do you really think that the government's going to come through, or what are your thoughts? How do you think this disclosure is going to happen? And you can always have your own interface like you do, right? Like we both
in
do.
A way, the 3i Atlas was like the disclosure already.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So this conspiracy theories be flying.
Right.
Let us know in the chat how you feel about it. And that's what I got from Mystic Space Weather News.
Okay, guys, welcome. Today, we're talking with Lydia, and she works and runs a company called Apona Healing. And I was attracted to her because I'm into horses, and I got a horse so that I could work with some more of my somatic healing through hypnosis. So I sense that she does some of the same, and I'm excited to dive in.
Yeah. So Lydia is a Renaissance woman loving her roles as a high performance coach. She's a thought leader, healer, and advocate for the horses. And she's passionate about conscious leaders living in full, secure, confident, knowing that they can turn any crisis or situation into success. She also did the documentary with Zero Limits with Joe Dispenza, and that was a really big movie. Joe Vitale. And that was a really big movie that just came out, the documentary. And I found her on that documentary, and I just was like enamored with the way she presented the information. So I am excited about learning about Zero Limits because I really innately feel like that's the case, but I do run up against my own.
Yeah. And it's funny. I was telling Lianka, and maybe we can go into this in a little bit, that I was with my sister and talking about unworthiness and how that's just this insane core wound. And I feel like that's a core wound that stops us from creating a limitless life in all ways. Lydia, welcome.
Thank you. It's an honor and pleasure to be with all of you today. And thank you for inviting me.
Thanks for being here. I want to start a little bit with your background. Most people that come to these healing arts, they really come from a place of something happened. I had a life-changing surgery. Lianka had a similar crash and burn moment. I would love to hear your story.
Sure, I'm happy to share it, but I first wanted to touch on a few things that you guys were sharing earlier, because it's a very exciting time with the possibility of disclosure. We're actually at the end of a 13,500 year cycle. And so we're moving out of 13,500 years of darkness into the next 13,500 years of light.
Nice. Yay. Yes, we can throw a party for that.
Yeah.
And so everything is shifting rapidly right now. And at the same time, it's the greatest opportunity for each of us to really expand and connect with our essence, with who we are, because the universal energies are fully on fire, fully supporting us. And we're going to be witnessing this transformation till 2100. So in 2100, the North Star aligns with the North Pole, and that heralds in the official next era of light, the next 13,500 years. So everyone who's on the planet now is courageous at the soul level while you're here. And it's super exciting.
Yeah.
So whatever it is we're meant to release, whatever it is we're meant to resolve, whatever it is we're meant to realign, now's the time.
Yeah.
Now's the time, without pressure, but with the inner knowing of that reclaiming of our birthright, our sovereignty, our know thyself. And then we want to be grounded on the earth, ground those universal energies, ground our connection with the divine, ground our connection with the spirit world. And so I just wanted to comment. I had so much to say.
I love that.
I'm so glad that you did. This is why we run a live show. Talk about these.
And also another story about selling the cat
tree.
The cat tree. Yeah, I was gonna say the cat box, but I knew it was a tree.
All the cats need trees.
Yeah, because it's just a beautiful expression in our daily lives of how when we tune into the divine, how when we tune into our higher self, little things are guided, and those little things can also guide our bigger life. So we learn to trust that intuition, that divine guidance. And that's how I got into all of this. Going back to your original question, I was born with deformed internal organs, and doctors had no idea really what to do. I'm almost 61, so in those days there wasn't really much awareness of other approaches. And when you're not properly diagnosed, then it's hard to have a plan of action. And it's also, there's really no compassion and really no respect, right? Because they don't know what to do and no one knows what to do. And maybe it's just in your head. Maybe it's all just in your head.
Wow.
So when I was 10, I was told by doctors to go home and die twice. And that was what I call my zero limits, my declaration of my sovereignty. And I said, I did not come on the planet to be half alive. I came on the planet to be whole and free. And I had no idea how I was going to heal my incurable chronic health conditions, but I just knew there had to be a way. And so I was living on a farm. And so this is 1975. So there was no internet, there were no cell phones, and we had a little country school. And literally, I was in our little country school and a book like fell off the shelf.
Yes.
And
Love it.
It was amazing. It was The Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale.
Yeah.
And I took that book, and I forgot I did this till I was in my deep cocoon of healing in my late 20s. And so it took me from age of 10, like officially age of 10, to my Saturn return in my late 20s to really resolve and understand how to heal myself for my path. And then I had dreams guiding me to leave my career as an environmental policy analyst and a mental health therapist and go into the healing arts. But it was that book, The Power of Positive Thinking, that I took with me into the haystack. And I guess when I look back, I was starting to master mindset, then allowing us to move into awareness and then broader connection with the divine. But that was my first experience of the universe having my back. So it didn't matter where I was. It doesn't matter what resources you have access to. You will be supported in your unique way by the divine, by the universe. And that little book popped out, and that was life-changing.
Absolutely. Wow. So then in going from that point where you were healing yourself to opening your practice, what was the mindset or the transition that you had there? Was it just
I had no intention ever to do anything with holistic healing, with personal development. I guess I was already like a personal development junkie, as they say.
Yeah.
Like, I love it.
Yeah.
I loved it. But because I had limited access, I started reading things like Lao Tzu and Confucius. And so I started studying Taoism, not intellectually, but as a way to apply it to my life at the age of 10.
I was
So
gonna
I
say
have
that's pretty advanced for a
Yeah.
young person,
Especially at that time and that date.
but it obviously you were being definitely guided. I always call those like my library guides. It's a lot easier to have library guides now when you have the internet, but those resources, especially the book jumping out at you, how important was it? How did you know to follow that? How did you know to really rely on that? I see that you saw the first book and you're probably, okay, I got this. And at a young age, that's pretty, it defines the foundation. But how do you know to have that faith at such a young age to rely on those books and Taoism and whatnot?
I didn't overthink it.
Okay. Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
That's
we
great.
talk a little bit about talking yourself out of your dreams when you overthink.
I
Let's
love
just
that.
dive in.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
I didn't
Okay.
overthink it. Like the book popped out and then I just started looking at it. And then I was in a trance. Like I hid it in my little schoolroom history book. I read it in the haystack. I had the flashlight at night so my parents couldn't see me reading it under my covers. And I was not going to spend the rest of my life in decline and dependent and eventually leave because nobody knew what to do. The universe knew what to do. So it was up to me to unlock my own mystery. So my teacher, Michio Kushi in macrobiotics, he said, sometimes you have to have the mind of Sherlock Holmes to find your unique solution to your mystery. So there has to be an interest.
Sure.
There has to be something within you that knows that there's something more for you. And part of that is the acceptance. We have the awareness of that. And then I accepted, okay, this is my situation, but I know there's more.
Yeah.
And then to get into alignment and then to take action. And it can be small action. And so how I shifted from I had a career in international environmental policy. It was a struggle because I was always chronically ill. So you just, in the old days, the mantra mind over matter, which we don't really use as much anymore because we don't want to go beyond our capacity and burn out and deplete our energy. But it's that balance. So I had university degrees and I was self-employed and had a lawn care landscaping business to support myself and did all these different things, a research analyst. And then when I finished my master's degree, I knew I had to take time off to heal. And that's when everything changed. So you asked what preceded me shifting my life. And so I had dreams. So everything in my life since officially 10, but before, has been 100% spiritually guided by dreams. And so you learn to trust them when you recognize the difference between intuition and intellect, logic and divine guidance. And that takes time. You can learn that, but it's practice makes perfect.
I agree.
And there's ways to approach it. So what happened was I knew I had been 20 years almost. And if I wanted to go forward in my life, I knew I needed a foundation of health, regardless of what my circumstance was with my health or anything else. And I had dreams telling me to go to Boston to see the macrobiotic forefather Michio Kushi. And that was life-changing for me. And then I had dreams telling me to do Reiki, like deep energy healing. And at one point I was too weak. I couldn't walk from my bedroom to my bathroom. I couldn't walk from my bathroom to my kitchen. It was just, that was mind over matter.
Yeah.
But I knew something within me was transforming. And I started having these dreams, like every night having these dreams of the changing of the earth, of symbols, sacred symbols coming, of white light coming through my hands. And then it was a time I call my cocoon of healing, where every night I had spiritual messages and I met many of the beings. And And so there were these beautiful white beings, and I'd fall asleep and I would see them taking my organs out of my body and infusing them with white light. And they would say, oh, see, here's your liver. There's a little layer of fat still on your liver, and we have to work on that. And it was very detailed.
Yeah.
And
That's fascinating.
That's very
Yeah.
And
So-
then I would get up and I would have to do the work, right? Then I'm on the earth and I had to cook and chew my food. And then finally I had the strength to go down our hill to a new Reiki center that had just come in. And then I thought, I don't know about that. I don't know about all that. It wasn't negative, but I was just had my mind full, right, of stuff. And then I had dreams like, you are going there.
Yeah.
So then I went for so I
I've
had
had that.
sessions. So then I had sessions, and then the woman suggested I learn Reiki, and I thought, oh, I can learn Reiki in my 60s because I'll have earned my capacity to channel energy by then. And then the dream, you are going to learn Reiki now. And then I was shown like mountains of people like walking up, really struggling and carrying heavy loads. And I was told, you are supposed to help them. About waiting for when you're ready. It's about your soul mission type of thing. So that's how it all started. And then I thought I would do it for a year and go back to my international environmental policy work. I had great job offers at the UN and federal government, and I loved it. And then it was just another year I did healing work, and it was just word of mouth. It was word of mouth. And I didn't have a table. I didn't have a place like a Reiki table. It was just tiny steps.
Yeah.
And now it's 30 years later. And here we are.
And and you just did a movie.
Yeah, fascinating.
I love it. I love it so much.
Let's talk. Do you know who was doing that healing work during your dreams? Do you know what galactic group, or was it an alien being, or do you know more information about that?
At the time I didn't. I was just experiencing it. And those dreams, when you're in that altered state, they're more real than life itself, than real life, than material world. So when you have messages or experiences like that, you absolutely have no question or doubt about their reality. It's you wake up and you're still immersed in that energy.
Yeah.
But at the time I didn't. I was guided to a book in a spiritual bookstore about the Pleiadians, and I just wasn't against it. I was just trying to figure out how to do macrobiotic cooking. So I was just like, I'll get to Pleiadians later. And then my first client, my first official Reiki Apona healing client, I didn't call it Apona healing then, I met by accident in this spiritual bookstore we had in Toronto. It's closed now, and you could sit in chairs and listen to audios. It's quite a large center. And we just started chatting. And he said, oh, I want to work with you. I said, no, this is just for me. We walked back to my apartment and we spent 6 hours talking. And he said, when you're ready, let me know. I said, I need to get insurance. I need a Reiki table. I need somewhere to practice. And he said, I don't care how long it takes. Just let me know. But he was the one who looked at me and he said, you are a Pleiadian.
Oh, wow.
So that was my
I get that energy from you for sure.
I guess that's what you asked.
Yeah.
And so it could have been Pleiadians. They were also horses. So that's how I connected with the divinity of horses, because the white beings would morph into humanoid shapes and they'd morph into horses. So I didn't think about horses. I love all animals.
Yeah.
I'm an animal lover and advocate, but I wasn't a person who was yearning to have horses.
Interesting.
They chose me. They also hold you to account. It's okay. Like you're better now. So let's move on and let's get to the next part.
Yeah. I've started to use the words we chose each other. Like the lady that got the cat tree as I was selling, it's truly this contribution. Like we chose our parents, we chose them, they chose us. And that is the oneness that we actually speak about. And I really love shifting the language sometimes around that.
I love that. I'm going to borrow that from you. It's absolutely true. It's all unity.
Thank you. Let's talk a little bit about sovereignty. I love the word. And I think a lot of people don't really get, and they overlook the word sovereignty. Why don't you share a little bit about how you define it in your world?
The concept of personal sovereignty is still very much evolving.
Mm-hmm.
It's very powerful.
Interesting.
And so it's not an expression that I expect 5 billion people to instantly go, I want to be sovereign. It's part of our own, it's part
Yeah,
of our
it's
There are more people that are understanding it more so than any other time in history. So I love that, but you're right. It's not like some people are walking up like, yeah, I want to be sovereign the way that they might ask for a hair blowout or something. It's becoming more common. Definitely
yes.
more common when I'm hearing it from people that I never even thought would ever be interested in any of this woo stuff.
Yeah,
But for you, what does that look like?
yeah, that too.
Yeah, I like the Lao Tzu quote. At the center of your being, you have the answer. You know who you are and you know what you want. So it's moving into full responsibility of self.
Yeah.
Not that we were irresponsible before, but a deeper knowing of self and not having attachment. It's that Taoist non-attachment where you're the Buddha in the middle of the burning inferno and nothing and no one can touch your essence. What happens in the external world may affect me functionally. I may utilize it to activate a part of my inner power or growth, but ultimately it's inconsequential to me because I can discern and deflect anything that doesn't support me. So this is part of knowing thyself. This is part of, you might call, I have a psychology background too, but boundaries or capacity. I have something called the capacity principle. And the journey of self-empowerment. So we use that word. We use mastering your inner power, the journey of empowerment. That is the journey to reclaiming your sovereignty. So for my mission, as for an example, I'm guided to help horses. I'm guided to help humans. I was guided to this farm. I had dreams, those white beings telling me you were going to be moving to this area. And I resisted them and said,
I would have
that area. I don't want to go over there.
But
And then I didn't know on the land, there are crystals growing on the land.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
And
cool.
there was
that is cool.
it's all these gifts that I didn't know were here. It was falling down, so we had to renovate. But my point is, the Lao Tzu quote: "I know who I am, I know what I want, and I'm here on my farm. And my mission is to help humans heal, grow, and evolve, and to help horses heal, grow, and evolve. And no one is going to influence that in a way that will take me off my path.
Yes.
If someone is not supportive of that, they're inconsequential to me. I wish them the best, but they have no impact on my mission, on my connection with who I am. So
How
this
do
is
you,
Well,
essence of sovereignty.
okay, I love that you're saying that. I'm not sure if you're married, but that's a big pill to swallow when you have maybe your children in the household, your husband, that when you were talking about being in the light, hiding the book or whatever, I kept thinking like, how many of us hide some of our woo studies from our own
Partner.
spouses? Like we were like, I felt we're in the corner with the haystack in our little book when we're looking up the stuff that we look at or watch on YouTube or even joining the show today, right? There's a little bit of us that like wants to learn more, but then we don't have, also sometimes we may not perceive that we have supportive partners or children or anything like that when it comes to this type of exploration or even spiritual journey. What do you say to those folks?
And let's talk about some of the tools of the people that are like, I get what you're saying, but I know that I'm not living that way for myself. Let's also address some of those as things come up.
Sure, I live that. I live what you're describing.
Well, you do, but we're addressing the audience here.
I understand to not have support. Like doctors told me to go home and die. My family just wasn't, they said, get on with it, kiddo.
Yeah.
Just use your mind and just get over it. And then when I became officially vegan, and when I was 14 or 15, my father disowned me from the family. like a religion. So I'm really aware of the challenges when you are balancing your true self
Yeah.
and what is an expression of your essence in the world, in your immediate home environment, in your family, in your community. So on my, as an example, on my farm, I've always lived in
Or
rural
can we
communities.
use another example? Just so that we can demonstrate your work a little bit?
Yeah,
Would
we
that be
definitely
okay?
want to do
Sure.
that.
We just want to kind of show people how it would work. I was sharing at the beginning of the conversation, I was on the phone with my sister yesterday, and she has all kinds of money problems all the time, right? Things will go well, and then they'll just flatline, and she'll be like content. And then she wants to change something, and then all of a sudden everything blows up, and she has no money and no credit and can't get a loan. And she has these patterns of this disaster that goes on. And I, as her sister, quietly watch these things as we know how to deliberately manifest. So what would you say to a person like that, that that gets the idea of, I have a vision, right? She does want this business. She's all in, except it seems that the universe keeps throwing her things so that she has this strife and the struggle and this pain. How could you help her get out of that pain?
There are two fundamental aspects. There is having an interest in knowing thyself, developing relationship with yourself. So I call it being centered, connected, and conscious, which we
Okay.
can go into, but centered in your core energy, connected to your essence and power, and conscious of your thoughts, beliefs, values, choices, actions, to reflect with self-responsibility. The other aspect of that is energy. It's the strength of your core energy. So when you merge your frequency, the strength of your energy, you are a pillar of light that's connected to universal energy. So you have access to infinite universal energy, which you can call Reiki, or you can call it whatever you like. And then when you have that awareness and you're interested and you're ready to reflect honestly with yourself, merging those two then with multiple tools. I have my 7 A's of change and goal achievement. I have lots of tools. Then you create a centered stability for yourself where you're able to discern your choices and discern and deflect that which does not support you. So there has to be a interest in coming back into alignment.
Yeah.
If there's no interest in that, then there's no judgment, but someone will keep playing out the same in this lifetime, and that's okay.
Yeah.
That's their journey.
What are the main tools that it's Reiki, your main tool that you use to help people like drop their vigilance system to get them back into who they actually are?
In your write-up, you also mentioned that you do have foundational principles, and you mentioned the help method. And so I don't know if this is how you do that. It feels like it's maybe not Reiki that you use primarily, but more of the foundational principles that you do use. Will you talk a little bit about that as well?
Sure. I do energy work. So traditional Reiki, adding energy, infusing of energy. I've done thousands and thousands of one-on-one sessions.
Nice.
So that's one. And then from a mindset point of view, there are ancient universal principles that I work with that can be then shared in more specific ways. So going back to my background in Taoism, then I shared 12 ancient universal principles. But my Apona healing method, which I started with 30 years ago, is Reiki, healing foods, because the first ancient universal principle is everything is energy. That's the first.
Yes.
We all know that, right?
Yes.
The second ancient universal principle is energy never lies. You cannot fool Mother Nature. Humans are masters of trying to fool Mother Nature. Look at our
Or they're trying to fool themselves. Yeah.
And so with the strengthening of your core energy and adding universal energy directly into your flow and river is the most direct way to begin to strengthen your energy. And then your aura becomes strong. And that's why in ancient texts, they have gold auras around spiritual figures or saints, because the combination, as we know, of all the energies and the energy centers, when they're balanced, become gold. So you become the Buddha, like I said, in the middle of the burning inferno. And then we have the awareness. Then we have the awareness of ancient principles of awareness, acceptance, action, alignment. I have my 7 A's of change that can be very practical. So we want to bring our spiritual energy, our essence, and ground it on the earth, and then take small actions that accumulate into change.
How do you help people really get what that means to ground on the earth like that, like you're speaking of?
You mean in terms of the approaches that I
Yeah,
offer?
yeah. What would
Wanted
be
to take
the
any colors as well?
yeah? What would be the experience of that? Like, can you take somebody through an experience of your work? Maybe is what I'm asking for.
Yeah, sure. So clients have come to me years ago. I was actually a specialist in advanced cancer. And cancer, as an example, can have many sources. It's not always beliefs. It may be. You may be living over a toxic waste dump and
Or
have cancer from, or your EMF tower. I work with clients with trauma. Work
can you
with
give us some
clients.
examples, stories?
Yeah. So in terms of I've so many. A client came to me, was referred to me, because back in those days, there was no website. It was all word of mouth, that had 4 months to live, pancreatic cancer, inoperable tumor. And we started with my Apona healing method of intensive Reiki. So that's the old Hawaii Takata, the last Grandmaster Reiki for approach, where we do 2-hour Reiki sessions at least once or twice a day for a few weeks or months. And then he was also interested in adding the macrobiotic healing food. And together in 4 months, instead of him dying, he was tumor free and cancer free. And that was from 3 different cancer hospitals, 3 different sets of CAT scans and tests. And the doctors said to him from the other hospital, if we didn't know your diagnosis, then we would say you never had cancer.
Wow.
There's not even a scar tissue where the tumor was. So that's what I did for. So that's what I've done for 30 years, and worked with clients with, like myself, in incurable chronic health conditions. And any clients who follow my Apona healing method in a very deep, committed way, it doesn't mean they can't do other things. They can do other things as well, complementary. 100%. They've had 100% recovery. Yeah. How do you define 100%? Well, the CAT scan shows that there's no evidence of a tumor, right? That's one story. There's lots of stories. There's healing with horses, where clients come who have had trauma and severe anxiety, and standing in silence and presence and stillness with the horses. We do Reiki before. We do at the end a burn the burden ceremony, where we release what comes up. And just standing in the presence of a horse activates that core energy to release. And you're in their golden auric field, and they have resolved like severe anxiety and trauma, where they're able to go back to work, or they're able to find their purpose in life. And they don't live in fear anymore. They don't live in that nervous system state that's so unstable. And with horses, very much like Reiki, it doesn't take very long with horses. We offer equine healing retreats and equine assisted therapy sessions. But as you're familiar, you work with horses, the magnetic field of the horse is huge. And everyone who visits horses, whether you're interested in healing and transformation or not, you just feel happy.
Yeah.
You feel relief. You have no attachment
wow.
when you're with horses all day. That's why we say we get lost in the barns. Oh, I'm just going to
No.
go to the barn for half an hour, and you come back 6 hours later.
Oh, yeah.
So there's these the horses being in nature, committing to your own personal development, energy healing, ancient principles.
Yes.
It's a beautiful time. We have so
It
much
is.
available to us.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful time because we have these ancient principles that science is now supporting. So you have quantum physics and quantum mechanics that's also saying all of the things that the ancients have been declaring and teaching us from back in the day. And now we have all of that science to support and to substantiate that which we have already had been told or learning or know. It's such a fascinating time. And so the confirmation that we're able to receive it's almost like Janet and I always use this term, like we can get it in our bones, like we can really receive that. And I think that the masses could really receive that as well. There was a comment here that Joe said right now. He said, thank you for the confirmation that is possible. And he was talking about the cancer being, yes.
100% possible.
Yeah.
So in the macrobiotic Taoist approach of understanding all of life, because the principles apply to all of life, then every cell is an energy center, and any kind of physical, mental, emotional, spiritual condition is just the energy centers are out of balance. And so food is energy, it's a frequency. Everything is energy. So in macrobiotic healing, yes, we apply food, but the principles are the universal principles that govern the universe. So we say the most ancient science on the earth is yin and yang. It's the Tao. It's how the earth was created. We talk about how the spirals of the yin yang energy form a tree. So of course you can resolve anything that you want to. Now, having said that, we still live on the earth and we have gravity, so we don't want anyone jumping off an office building. We don't want somebody, we're talking about limitless life, we don't want to go beyond the frequency of the earth. But within our historical 13,500 years of darkness, that mindset, yes, limitless means being able to move through those perceived past beliefs and what's possible into expanding.
That's exciting.
Into expanding in what you never even considered. I didn't have any idea that I could have such a great life when I was 10.
Agreed. And we just buy into what our parents taught us and told us, and the collective feeling about things like cancer is a death sentence. It's just really become a little ridiculous in the way people are around certain things.
It's an imbalance. It's an imbalance like any other imbalance. And when you understand yin and yang, then you really understand why does, for example, certain types of chemotherapy help certain types of cancer, because some chemotherapy is more yang and some cancer is more yin. And so, yes, there's a very deep understanding of the most ancient science in the universe, which is the Tao, which is yin and yang. That's the basis of all life.
Let me ask you
that. Sorry.
It just brought up something with me, because there is this yin yang balance. And as you were stating it, I was actually seeing it opening more in the expansiveness of the nature, because it's like when you're contracted around something, then it's just really solid, hard, and mattery. And as you start talking about this balance, I was also seeing it more come out as this very expansive thing that we're actually asking to come out of that dense contraction of one side of and so that balance then opens it up for both.
It gives room for creation, and it creates the room for inertia. We've talked about this before, and it's like a locomotive, right?
I love that.
Because you have the yin and yang, so you have, like you said, the tree emerge, or you have new creation happen because we are in vibration. So it's a building block of geometry of the structure.
So much.
But
we love the way that you talk about it too.
I think we forget though, because we can get so skewed sometimes, or we don't realize, or you'll be a young person and you're like, oh, this is going on. How do I come out of this unbalanced place? And we have a lot of duality, right? So then it's like a lot of what we might perceive as clashing rather than allowing it to be that, rather than allowing it to be that, what's the word that you used? I don't want to say removed, but you said that, I think you detached, rather than being an allowance of things. Sometimes we create this more friction, and then that keeps us sometimes pulled in this other polarity. I wanted to give you time to possibly take a question or two from the chat or from anybody that wanted to raise their hand, because I know that we love to showcase your work as well.
And then I'd like to go into your special offer, and maybe we do that first while we're queuing up the chat.
And there was a question too that was on the chat that I can't see because we got to be.
Yeah, scroll on up.
And
hear this one.
Yes, I think so. Katie says, when I turned 62 and back, when I was growing up, if you were into any kind of woo, you were an embarrassment to the family. That was a comment feeling that way. So people said, oh, cool, I can get that. And there was a couple other comments, but anyone that wants to get a question answered or maybe have a little bit of work with.
Now that we've gone to this conversation, I'd like to get your view on really how the energy works as far as Limitless goes with the sacred geometry of the planet and the order of the universe. Do you have thoughts on that?
Our universe is expanding, exactly as you've been saying. And so we're expanding as well. And then we all know that sacred geometry is an expression of frequency. So if you've heard of Mandelbrot set or cymatics.
Yes.
So cymatics is that old experiment when they put the sound waves into a fluid that has lycopodium, the spores of the mugwort plant. And if you put one sound wave in, you watch. Greg Braden used to show this.
Yes, I loved it. That's what changed my life.
You watch the spinning. And then if you use two more complex sound frequencies, then you watch
coherence.
It's like the universe. It's like the universe. And then what happens is after the frequency is added and the spores of the mugwort plant realign, then they vibrate at a sacred geometry shape. The root. So when we're talking about like symbols, sacred geometry or symbols in Reiki, they are visual representations of frequency.
Beautiful.
So as long as a symbol is a visual way for us to understand the frequencies of that state. And so sacred geometry is, absolutely. I work shungite is related to all of those things and crystals. And our planet, as we know, is moving through, and our whole solar system and our galaxy. There's what is it? Is it 100 billion? I used to know 100 billion stars in, I think it's 4 now, 100 billion, but it used to be 100 billion stars in our galaxy, like our sun, and then 100 billion galaxies in our universe. So our galaxy is one of the smallest.
Right.
So I think they say now it's 400 times 400 billion, but imagine 100 billion times 100 billion sources of energy for you and I to access just in our universe.
Yes. From each thought that we have, even. It's profound.
It is profound.
It's 100 billion. So when someone says woo, woo is the essence of life. Woo is the sacred energy that animates all of life. So in my generational history, when you're belittled because of woo, then it's a fundamental disrespect to the order of the universe. You are disrespecting yourself. You are disrespecting me. You are disrespecting the entire universe when you belittle. Woo is a celebration. Woo is a recognition. And this is our sovereignty. This is an expression of our sovereignty, our birthright to live in alignment with universal energy.
I'm like, preach it. Yes.
Like, I know where we're getting our next soundbite for our clips today.
Dang.
I love
that was beautifully said.
Because
it's the
100%. Time. Yes. and we have the show.
And I understand how to the balance when you're in the home, when you're with whatever spouses or family members. As I was saying, I live on farms. Farmers will come and belittle my horses, those good for nothing hay burners and all that kind of stuff. So we're living in a time of transition,
Yeah.
Sure.
of transformation.
A great
So it's
time.
up to each of us to decide, to discern what is the balance that's best for me, for my children, for my family,
Yeah.
for my horses. If
Oh,
I'm going
yes.
to confront every farmer that comes on my property to help me move manure because they think all animals are stupid and should be slaughtered, I'm not going to do the best thing for my horses. I have to get the manure moved. So I will make sure that I'm respected, but I also balancing the fact that we're living in a paradigm shift. And I'm not angry and hateful towards those who express that to me. So it's a balance, right? It's that balance. And that's what I'm talking about with sovereignty. It's the art of living through the most epic paradigm shift in human consciousness right now.
Yes.
And that's the know thyself. That's the know thyself. How is having my spouse who doesn't support me, how is it in my best interest, aside from love and all that kind
Sure.
of stuff, but how is that in my best interest for my children and my life? And then then sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. That's
Yeah.
how we discern and go forward. And it's a very intense, challenging time. We're up for it.
Absolutely.
Yes, yes. And I'm feeling super empowered and inspired by this. Yes, because this is, if I want to raise my children in what I know to be truth for our, as infinite beings, then I would proudly be about the woo. This is ancient technology that has been available for us to have more beautiful, impactful lives. Yeah,
Absolutely.
cool.
Great. I'm going to go ahead and bring up your special offer. I'd love if you take us through it.
Absolutely. We're talking about living a limitless life and through reclaiming your sovereignty, connecting with who you are. And we want to ground ourselves. So we want to take that woo energy and that knowing and make it doable,
Yes.
step by step, not overwhelmed. And I know what it's like to have a lot of spiritual messages and energy and everybody's talking you. And at the time that we're living on the planet, we're naturally feeling stuck, stressed, overwhelmed, because we're going through together collectively phenomenal transformation into the light. So what I put together is a very simple, effective, doable, step-by-step digital course program. It does have a free community element. We have our Conscious Leader Circle every month.
Cool.
So that is free. That introduces the 12 ancient universal principles method. And then within that, actionable steps. So the 7 steps, the 7 A's of awareness, of change. So the first way we get going, as we were talking about earlier, is to realize that we can be centered, connected, and conscious. And how do we become centered? With greater self-awareness, by having a desire to understand our vision. Who am I? What is important to me? And do I have a vision? And that can change. Nothing is set in stone. That will evolve with you, but we can get started with simple steps. So we start with awareness, and then I have exercises and a mantra and an affirmation. And every module, every lesson in the course can be taken at a direct level. So you don't have to feel that you need a PhD to go through it. It's real life doable. But then I have an additional resources section where you can dive deeper into every module. And it's up to you how you want to move through the course. So you can start and go through awareness, acceptance, and alignment. And then that will bring more clarity. And then you go into the connected state where action, we want to take some sort of action. It doesn't have to be large action.
It's
that's
inspired
aligned already.
usually.
Yes,
Yeah.
Inspired, that's
yeah.
right.
Aligned.
Inspired,
Jump up and
aligned.
get that cat tree.
And then we have in the connected module, so we're going from feeling stuck into action, which leads to creativity. We are realizing we can find solutions and we can make them happen.
Or
When you're
start a
stuck,
podcast.
yeah, it can get really heavy when you're
Yes.
stuck. You want to,
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
my gosh.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
and often when we're stuck, it's because we're merging aspects of ourselves, and it has to give birth. We have to give birth to, and then we no longer stuck.
Yeah.
And that's where the creative juices, the creative life force flows. And then so there's the feeling connected with action and accountability. Being accountable to yourself, that's part of sovereignty.
Yes.
Is not making excuses for yourself, but recognizing that you're doing the best that you can, and also honoring that. That's part of the other side.
I think that people can often make themselves wrong, so they do make an excuse.
I've done that.
Yeah.
I have to do that.
Absolutely. And then we move into being conscious. And so centered, connected, conscious. Always remember those three pillars. Those are fundamental to everything in life. And more people are becoming conscious. They're starting to act with awareness. They're starting to take time to reflect and pause before creating a plan, rather than just logic, rather than just intellect.
Yes.
And that's the part where I think people get tripped up, is because they're like, oh, I got a plan, but it all came from just the intellect. And so that's where you sometimes think that you're forcing it. There, people want to be in flow, but they're forcing it. And that's what we call the old hustle.
And what happens is that's where we get drained and feel resistant.
Yes.
Our soul is awakening, our spirit is expanding, our heart is activated, and then we're trying to fit into, nothing against financial advisors, but what the financial advisor says is logical to do for your retirement. Which is, I'm not against that, but we now are evolved enough that we can do both.
Yeah.
We can do both. We can have that financial plan, but make it our own in these 7 steps.
Yes.
Right? These 7 steps to live a limitless life and reclaim your sovereignty. And so from accountability, then we go, and the accountability section is my interview with Dr. Joe Vitale.
Oh, cool.
So I have lots of videos. What I've done with this course, I absolutely love it.
I was digging around. It looks amazing, by the way. Yeah, in the delivery, I was like, wow.
Nice.
It's laid out beautifully. Yes.
It's really my passion. I brought together my 30 years of experience as an introduction. It's an introduction to literally 7 steps that are doable to expand where you are and live a limitless life. So I have all different interviews I've done, different award-winning columns that I've written. And so every module is clear and concise. And then if you'd like to learn more, there's the deep dive additional resources section.
That's amazing.
Where I share my more deeper wisdom. But so the accountability section is my interview with Dr. Joe Vitale, which comes back to your original discussion today of 0 point. Wow. That's so exciting. So we have a discussion on how 0 point is the point where you can truly release old beliefs. You don't have the attachment, and you can expand beyond what you thought was possible. So this is in the course. And you have it forever. You have
this is
Dr.
so good.
Joe Vitale. Yeah, and then the very last 7A in conscious is being attuned. In Reiki, we have an attunement, right? Is being in tune, is attuning to your signal. This is your sovereignty. This is your what am I choosing to listen to? The messages from the divine, which I give step-by-step guide in the course, 7 steps to co-create with the divine, is in the course. And also my love method, listen, observe, validate, empower. That's in the course. It's so exciting. Yeah. And then you become attuned. And then you really know your signal. And then
111.
reflect.
Sorry, sometimes the humor just goes in my head. I said that, and you know your sign, like 111, and those repeating
Exactly.
numbers. And you also know when the universe like throws you something and you're like, ah, okay, I see it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
Exactly.
love it.
Exactly. That's the signal to noise ratio. And
Hmm.
that is the essence of knowing thyself, the balance of the art of living. When do I apply myself? When do I pull back? And it's
Hmm.
presented super simply in
I
this
love it.
course.
Fabulous.
Very simple, doable. And it's just a giant hug from me to everyone to share all of this in this very special course, as I said, that is simple, but also you can take your time. You can go straight to the attunement section and do a deep dive. You can watch the Joe Vitale interview I did with him and reflect on, what does 0 point mean to me?
Mhm.
Or you may just want to achieve, not just, but you may want to achieve a particular goal. Like maybe you want to lose 10 pounds. You can use this step-by-step guide for that. So that's a
So
little bit about the course.
tell us about the community. Is that a once a month thing? And how long are they invited to the community? Is that just a 6 month thing? Tell us about
Well,
that.
it's a part of this course
Uh-huh.
is our free Conscious Leader Circle community. We meet once a month forever. I'm
Nice.
doing it. I started it to support my tribe during
Yeah.
the lockdowns.
Mhm.
And I've missed, I think, one in 4 years.
Okay,
And
cool.
That's
sometimes we
fast.
have guest speakers. Yeah, and
Uh-huh.
sometimes it's just us. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, got it.
everyone who takes the course is welcome to come to our Conscious Leader Circle
That's
community.
amazing, y'all.
Yeah,
Like that in of
that's cool.
itself is
Very
worth
cool.
the entire, but the course is laid out beautifully. It's delivered through modules, and each part is like you can go through them at your own pace. It's beautifully laid out. And then you also have this opportunity to do
A 2 hour session.
a 2 hour session.
Yes.
So it's $97 for the course, includes the community for lifetime access, is what I'm hearing you say. And
Yes.
then you get the option to tack on another like $100 to get a 2 hour session. Like it's a no-brainer to choose both if you can,
Yeah.
because we do a two pay, so you can break that into two different payments. Tell us a little bit about what the sessions are like with you for that.
We start with we start with a questionnaire that I send you.
Gosh, this is great.
So that we're really clear on what it is you want to get out of the session. What are your goals? What's your history? And how I can best support you in the session. So the session is based on the Apona healing method. So you can choose one or all. You can have long distance Reiki. You
Uh-huh.
can have guidance
Cool.
on healing foods to add to your diet. You don't have to change your diet. You can add daikon radish. You can add kukicha tea. You can add miso soup. And I support you in learning how to do that without changing your beliefs about diet. And then we can have a coaching session
I love
where
this.
we identify and bring together and integrate your vision for yourself and create a crystal clear path for you forward with I've heard you use the term your North Star, your zero limits declaration, your guiding star, and with the 12 ancient universal principles. So in 2 hours, we could do a bit of all three, or you
I was
could
gonna
just choose
say,
one.
Wow, that's cool. Oh, you guys, oh my
yeah,
God.
a no-brainer. Like
Yeah.
it's amazing. I know so many people that could benefit from just
Just-
pieces of that,
yeah.
like having that together as a almost pre-designed package for someone, because it has the questionnaire. Like here's a whole bunch of different components for you, specifically for you, and I'm going to teach you about it and show you how to go through it in the 2 hours you have together. Thank you.
Opening the door to awareness alone, I think, just opening the door so that people don't like stick onto a fixated point of view that they have from their past. I think that alone can wake up people. And that's like right there just at the beginning.
I know. I thought about that too.
If you're looking for the offer, you can find it at houtehustle.com/Lydia. That's spelled with an I, Lidia. houtehustle.com/Lydia. It will be in the YouTube caption as well.
And then you can find all of the different things the speakers are offering and their interviews on our live page. And that is at houtehustle.com/LIVE. So just in case you're looking for anything.
And if you're on their newsletter, please check it. We are going to change formats just a little bit next week. So make sure you're showing up at the right place.
Speaking of being on purpose, Dana says 11:11 Mountain Time.
Love
so
it.
We're all feeling the energy. Lydia, do you have any parting words for us today? Thank you so much for a beautiful, wonderful special offer that you brought to our audience today. It's obviously your life's work, and I'm just so grateful that you would share that with our audience, but also want to give you the opportunity to maybe share a couple words with us.
Well, absolutely. It's been an honor and pleasure to be here and to share my 30 years of experience, and both spiritually, right, and functionally in my life journey. And to remember that you are a high spiritual being. Every person on this planet is already a high spiritual being. There is no right or wrong. It's never too late. And you can go forward one step at a time to literally live your dreams, create a life that's limitless for you, and reclaim that sovereignty.
Love it.
To know who you are, to know what you want, and you have the answers within you. And that's what we want. We want you to find the answers and then support you with unconditional support for the rest of your life. You're never alone. So that's where the help, that I'm here to support you with help, health, and lasting power.
Love it.
Fabulous.
Thank you, Lydia. That was amazing.
Yes, beautiful call. Katie says, thank you, Lydia. Everything was so amazing. I feel like you've achieved all that you're doing, and we are inspired by you. Golly, thank you. Thank you.
Again, you guys, the link is houtehustle.com/Lydia if you're looking for this offer.
And Jenith needs to wrap, so I just want to remind you that everything you can find at houtehustle.com or on YouTube. Be sure to like and subscribe, because only less than 40% of you are subscribed. So please do, if you're watching these videos, we really appreciate it.
Please comment as well.
And with that, we're Haute Hustle, reminding you to take a little time to enjoy the woo.
Bye, everyone. Have a great weekend. We'll be back next week. Check your emails.